Hey everyone! So we shared in some of our last videos what renovations and landscaping projects are on the docket for 2024, but I thought I'd take the time out to share some of the programs, the community programs that we're hoping to implement here at Flock and answer some related questions that we commonly receive. Firstly, however, I want to let everyone know that we now have a members tab on our YouTube community for which you can actually join. Now, this is more of a value for value exchange. So if you're someone who finds value in the videos and the knowledge that we are sharing here and are looking for a way to say thank you, then consider becoming a Flock member in 2024. We also have different levels and perks, like you'll get different bird badges that will show up next to your name when you comment, signifying that you're like part of the flock. And I think those are really neat, and it'll be cool to see all of the birds out there in the wild in the comments section. And other levels that we have include like these nature emojis, and then quarterly updates, Q&A videos similar to this. And then higher levels will get members only community posts and first opportunity access to any events that we end up doing at Flock and discounts on any plans or future courses or workshops and the like. And I'll actually be sharing some of these bigger picture community projects, ideas, and stuff today. And finally, we even have a top tier membership that gives you a thank you credit on one video per month for every month that you're a member of that tier. So as I shared, if you're already getting value from the channel, then consider becoming a member. And if you find any of these additional perks fun or interesting, then feel free to engage in them that way. And the way that memberships work on YouTube, it's like super flexible and you could join or cancel at any time. So when you go to our channel on YouTube, next to the subscribe and notifications icon, you'll now see a join button. And that's just another way to support folks that you believe in. So today, as I shared, I want to let you in on some of the ideas and conversations that my friends and I have been batting around for some time regarding future public programs we're hoping to implement in the next year or two. Now, quick refresher or backgrounder for anyone just tuning in. My friends and I were looking to get some land with the idea of co-living together. And we started looking in 2018. We had a lot of starts and fits when it came to searching for land, particularly as our searches got caught up in the pandemic housing surge. And then we saw this beautiful piece of land that we're on now in about June of 2020. And we closed in the fall of that year. And then Sonder officially moved here in the winter of 2020, 2021. And then he got stuck in the most epic snowfall through May of 2021. And then we really began in earnest cleaning up the land. Gardening and landscaping began about 2 years ago. And then renovations on the pre-existing buildings began shortly thereafter. And we just finished our first renovation in November of 2021, which is the Meadow House. And this is the one that I'm actually sitting in now. So we're super proud and super happy about that because it feels like we saw some light at the end of the tunnel. And each of us are personally involved in different capacities in this life project in ways that really fit where each of us are in our own lives. But we all partake in more of the vision mapping for the land. Some of what we deemed important to us from the get-go was kind of 4 tenets. And one is that we wanted to create a space that could really give us a higher quality of life. And then I think related to that is one that would allow us to be closer to nature and to be stewards of our environment. And then the third was to spark new creative ideas and opportunities and, maybe in our own personal careers, but also new endeavors. And I guess the YouTube channel is a great example of that because this kind of spawned out of us being here at Flock. And then finally, create a community space for one another and then contribute to the community around us and even do community-based programs in the future. So my personal specialty, as you know, has been the landscaping and the plant growing here. And even though our projects have really just begun and we don't even have like our greenhouses up or anything like that, we really have been able to put in around, I would say, a dozen different gardening or landscaping projects and have gotten endless requests for garden tours from folks like you. And this has been really challenging for us to field all these individual requests that come in like, hey, I'm in your neck of the woods, can I come by? Which, don't get me wrong, it's so awesome, but to date, like our work or our travel schedules and the constant renovations, it just really doesn't allow us for visits like that. But since we have had the meadow house finished and we're underway with the barn and the common house, we thought that we could probably muster a couple guided group tours in the summer of 2024, which I estimate, will take probably between 2 and 2.5 hours, depending on people's questions along the way. So on our website, which is always evolving, we have a tab called Spaces, which shows a little compilation of some of the landscaping projects, many of which you'll actually recognize if you are a consummate viewer of this channel. And then we actually also have a tab called Experiences, which will have future tours, events, workshops, and the like, which will be a way for the greater community to learn and engage with Flock some more. And I think you could probably tell from a lot of the videos that we produce, we like to keep our topics pretty educational and hopefully a little inspirational. So having more tours and experiences like that for the greater community, I think will be a fun exploration for us and an extension to what we already produce in video format. Oh, and yes, if you see that the garden tours are all sold out, yes, we actually had a number of private groups like garden groups swipe up those opportunities, and we really want to keep our tours ideally between maybe 20, 40 people, but we're talking with one of those groups about moving their tour to 2025. So if we do that, then it'll open up the possibility for another tour in 2024. And as I mentioned, we'll let our Flock members have first dibs on that. So if you need another incentive to join our member group, then there it is. Okay, so that's the garden tours. And we'll trial them, I guess, in 2024. Let's talk about the program we'd like to trial in 2025. And I think that's the one that we're most excited about. And that is the creative, ecological, and horticultural garden/garden residencies. So those are residencies where people can come for maybe week-long, 2-week-long, or 3-week-long stays to work on a specific project in their field and then enjoy the surrounding nature around Flock. Maybe even help out with some of the chores or the like. Just a place where folks can really concentrate and be inspired to do their respective work in their fields. Maybe they're just feeling like in a rut, in a creative rut, or maybe they just want to get out of their environment. Maybe they're in the city and they just want to get out in nature. Maybe they just work and travel and want to plant themselves somewhere for a bit. And that's really the idea. So maybe one day a week we gather together for a group meal and people could share what they're working on and get feedback from one another. But we think it's also really important that people have their own spaces so they could concentrate on what they're doing in earnest. So we are all creative types and we do that work professionally. So I think we really understand what people are looking for. Sander, as you know, specializes in motion graphics design, but he's also a multimedia artist. Joey specializes in environmental portraiture. Kia, his partner, does more fine art projects with moving film, largely around Ethiopian culture and history. The two of them are actually working on a very cool experiential project together. Maybe more on that later. And then my work involves more film and in the past delved into sustainable fashion and design. And one of Saunders' initial visions was to create a space for creatives. And that is really authentic to him because as a professional motion graphics designer, he is used to working with multiple people on one project, and also co-created an amazing festival for a few years called Blend Fest, and he did that with fellow creatives. So that was like a really collaborative project that he had done. And when he was a teenager, he started his own website design company and then spent time traveling the world by himself just to get outside of his comfort zone and get inspired by nature and people and architecture, which he felt really helped him become more creative in his daily work. So he really valued opportunities like that, and we brainstormed how Flock can actually facilitate something like that, and that's how the initial idea of Residencies were formed. Now, because I come from more of an ecological and horticultural background as well, and that's a lot of what we concentrate on here at Flock, we also thought that offering ecological and then horticultural/gardening residencies also made sense. And as of right now, I think we see 2 tiers of residencies. So one tier would be that people just pay to stay for a week or 2 or 3 so that they can really fully immerse themselves in the project and their time here at Flock. And another tier that we hope to do is nominated residencies, which would be folks that are nominated by us or by others, or we maybe personally reach out to, or that we do an RFP, like a request for proposal to do a specific creative, ecological, or garden project that we can do together at Flock. So these would be more involved for sure and have more moving parts and would be totally collaborative projects that would exist at Flock well beyond after the resident departs. So they essentially will be like leaving their mark at Flock for all to enjoy. And we see this residency to be either sponsored or have a stipend in some way. We'll have to kind of figure that one out. And maybe each one will be slightly different depending on what it is, I don't know. And that is the type of project that we think would personally be fun to film because it'll be collaborative and a good learning experience. It'll be happening right here on Flock. And we'd probably even like the resident, I'd imagine to like do a workshop or a presentation to the broader community so that other folks can learn from him or her and see the collaborative project firsthand. I mean, maybe we could even have members of the public come out and actually help with the project if that's relevant, like a design and installation day. And I think there are like so many other ways that we could actually be supportive of the resident as well, but like we'll hold off on those ideas for now. But at least you get like some of the high level of what we're thinking in regard to residencies. So like I said, if we have the good fortune of finishing the bulk of our renovations in 2025, that's yet to be determined, then we'll probably trial our first residency then. And we'll probably just start with one and then see how it goes. We'll get feedback, we'll fine tune it, and then we'll roll out other programs afterwards. And ideally we would have multiple residencies in those, different categories happening at once or overlapping with one another. So it gives the cohort that's here the opportunity to meet and engage with other folks in different fields because we think that could actually be really stimulating too. But we wouldn't want to bite off more than we could chew in the beginning. So we'd probably just start with one person, and that will take the pressure, I think, off of just trying to renovate more spaces. So yeah, so that's the residency program. Next, yes, there's more. Next, we're considering doing some volunteer days, maybe come the first week of June and the last week of September, maybe in March, depending on the weather. That's when we feel that there's the most work to do. And it usually coincides with the great big mow and composting projects for the year. So this may be a nice opportunity for some folks to get out and to work the land with us. And I don't think we're set up yet to have like woofing programs, so that worldwide organic farming fellowship kind of thing. We're just not there yet for that. So having more like kind of volunteer days, I think actually works for us. We're also going to take a much needed break from renovation after we do the common house and the barn. So once those are finished to a certain extent, we just need to take a breather, energy-wise, resource-wise, financial-wise, all that type of stuff. But eventually, we like the idea of putting up maybe more small cabins, probably in the wild permaculture area that we did in the interstitial. So I'll link to that video if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's the strip of land. I think it's several acres, and it's between the forest and the meadow. And then that way, we can either have more overlapping residencies, or we'll have the option of maybe hosting smaller retreats. I have quite a number of friends from the fashion, design, and modeling industries whom are on parallel paths or are just really into sourcing raw materials for natural beauty products and the like, or just really like being out in nature or love the environment, or real activists around the environment. And I just think it would be fun to have a place where we can have a reunion and share stories and make things together. So I think I see that maybe in the distant future. And I mean, we're still formulating and marinating these ideas over, but I thought these ideas are far enough along that we can actually share them with you. But when we think about these experiences, like the garden tours or workshops or the residencies, these really feel in line with what we're about and what we like to do, more so than like a traditional B&B or wedding event. And I'm not saying that we would never do the latter, but the educational components and residency ideas, they just feel more in line with like our vibe and our interests. I wanted to share them with you, and maybe you could share some of your ideas with us as well. Maybe you've gone to places that are like this that I'm kind of describing. So feel free to share those in the comments. And as always, thank you for your interest in what we're building here at Flock. This is a life project that I think that we're all really fully enjoying. And and special thanks in advance for the first folks who may become members of the channel. And we hope you get a lot out of what we share here. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.